You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts with the only Chris Level. I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again for what is a big show via any measurable, because we're talking themes of the episode: large humans, mass, kicking ass, and we're talking about a defensive line addition for Joey McGuire and the Red Raiders in the form of UCF transfer, one-time Auburn Tiger, Lee Hunter, who chooses the good guys. And this is one of the biggest, both literally and figuratively, that probably will come across the bow for anybody during this portal season.
Yeah, so this is he's going to be considered either the or amongst the top 5 defensive linemen or defensive tackles that are out there in the portal, at least to this point. This is a second team All Big 12 guy. It's got a lot of experience under his belt. He started, I think, 23 games, played in 38 for UCF, and but the thing that I think Texas Tech, and we talked about this when we were talking, DBs and them trying to redo that room and remake it from what it needed to look like and what we have to compete at a higher level. But 6'4", 320, and I think that is, a large human, to quote somebody that close to the situation. But that is what you were trying to do at the onset of the portal opening up, is add bulk, size, length, experience, all this stuff in, up front on both sides of the ball. And this certainly does that. This is one of those, this is going to make some news like regionally, nationally, because of not only is an inside the conference, but because he's an inside an All Big 12 type player, not type player is, and I think this is one that, I think that there was a Florida State, Texas, LSU. You're kind of in the you're in the heavyweight department as far as shopping in the fun part of the store there. So, because there's just not many of these types of people walking the face of the earth that have eligibility left or that are good at football, right? And I think that you were trying to find one, and this one probably was difficult to win. But when you see all of the projections and all that stuff, a lot of those are coming from the agent or the player rep. And I think that Texas Tech obviously put their best foot forward here and has, made things happen. So I'm here for it. I don't know if I'm phrasing that correctly, but you get what I'm saying. It's a portal party, man, and you're portaling about as good as anybody out there.
There's no question about it. And of course, we all understand, disclaimer, there's not a game one here in the month of December necessarily, but when it all comes together, it'd be nice to have some pieces that are going this size, and I'll take a couple other along the offensive line, this size or bigger, even some more compadres along the defensive line. Fine with that as well, Chris. There's no way around being excited about the possibilities. This is a dude, if you go back and check the Locked On Texas Tech archives, at some point during the regular season, we did a show, and we're talking Big 12 or something. I think it was a game with Central Florida and Iowa State that came up. And I was bemoaning the fact that we have nobody along the defensive line that looks like the guy that I just saw in a Central Florida jersey on Saturday. And this is the man. So somebody that will get a lot of attention, deservedly so. And boy, would sure be happy to see him making some plays and changing the game up front for Texas Tech next year.
And most people don't have anybody that looks like this up front. Okay, so we're clear. But two, there's typically just not defensive tackles that are of the 6'4" variety, because a lot of times at some point they get moved to guard. Hey, dude, go play on the offensive line. That like you're not quite long enough or not quite tall enough to be a tackle at a high level, but you could be a really good offensive guard or center or whatever it may be. But it's just this is a bit unique here. But these are the kinds of guys though that when you start talking about quarterbacks that aren't very tall or in the 5'10", 6'1" variety, and you played some of those this year that aren't just, you put a bunch of guys like this in front of them, it makes them hard to see. How many, I don't know if anybody stats this. I'd love to know how many passes that Lee Hunter either deflected or altered, even if he didn't tip it, just because of his length on the interior of the line. Because you see that with edge guys. Tyree Wilson was 6'7" and Miles Cole was 6'8", and they had the wingspan. You just you don't see a lot of like length on the interior of a defensive line. That's what makes Lee Hunter so unique. But I'm here for it. I'm here for unique. I can't wait to see what he can do and how much different it makes you and all that stuff, because it should make everybody around him or around him better, just because of what he can do, whether he's sucking up blocks or making things happen or altering throws. All that stuff. It's like you've had a get off the bus party, because you've got what you've added here in the portal in recent weeks. They all need to be off the bus first, because they all check all the boxes on measurables. It's like, dang, man, we don't have guys that look like that. And that's what you're signing. You're going to this party. It's like, okay, we need some of this, and this. And you're kind of collecting measurables and everything like that. So that part is fun. Now you just need to have the productivity to go with it.
Yeah. I know this is kind of subjective, but I was just curious before we get out of here, where you feel like he kind of falls as far as the war room player chart. I know there got to be some really big fish there that when you set your sights high and you want to go get this guy or that guy, some guys are part of that category. I may be wrong. I'm viewing him as probably one of those kind of players in that upper echelon category. Is he the biggest fish that you could land this cycle? Is he one of the two, one of the three? Does he belong there? First, today's episode brought to you by the College Football Playoff. It's that time of the year. The College Football Playoff is back, and with the newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT sports coverage of the College Football Playoff begins December 21st, starting with the College Football Playoff kickoff show presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern. Leading into our first matchup, the SMU Mustangs battling the Penn State Nittany Lions at noon. Then the Clemson Tigers look to upset the Longhorns in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the College Football Playoff presented by Allstate, live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. Is he the biggest fish that you could land this cycle? Is he one of the two, one of the three? Does he belong there?
Yes. Is he going to be a bigger fish than what you ultimately do at left tackle? Remains to be seen. Okay. But maybe not. Is he a bigger fish as what you are, may do at edge player? Maybe not. But he is in that very small conversation. But there's just not many guys out there like this. One, with the measurables, but two, that are second team all Big 12, that have production, that have started, and that you could acquire all the stuff. And this is one that everybody should be excited about, because this is a player that he won't suck. Okay. It's going to, I'm right. It's going to elevate. It just elevates everything around you. And, he's not, you don't bring him in here and he's like, God, he's terrible. No, that's just not going to happen, because that's not what he is. Like, I've already seen too much of it and all that. And is he going to be worlds better than Jalen Hutchings? Will he be not near as good as Jalen Hutchings or Tony Bradford or whatever? I don't know. But I think we saw that you need forceful and impactful players up front because there was too many games this year where the defensive line was just simply non-existent. ACU, Baylor, Colorado, what am I missing there? Oklahoma State, where you just it was a non-factor. And I think this is a player that helps fix that. And don't sleep on my guy, Skylar Gill Howard either, because I think this is a good because I have something else I want to say too. This is a good yin and yang here. This is Skylar Gill Howard may be as excited as anybody if you get, that you could put Lee Hunter next to him. But I have I've been asked already, okay, does that mean that we're done here? Not necessarily on the interior. Not necessarily. I think they would be specific. I think there's a couple in mind. And if they could get I think they would say, okay, let's do it. And, so not necessarily totally because the two guys that you've just, Skylar Gill Howard and I think Lee Hunter, these are just 1 year additions here.
Yeah, man, exciting. And hopefully
and
something
big.
impactful for that year.
Yeah.
Large humans. Want that theme to continue. All right, Chris, the resident large human of this here podcast. Appreciate you for being out there. Enjoyed the time as always, and looking forward to the next one. We'll see you then.
Yeah, well, and if the next one is as large as this one was, I'm looking forward to it too, because these are shows that, these are fun to do when you talk about acquisitions like this one, man, because goodness gracious. Playing D-line for Texas Tech or going to the WWE Performance Center in Florida to train. I don't know, each his own, but you could walk into either place and you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. That's how big this dude is.
Man, can't wait to see him in action and in the red and black. Appreciate everybody for being out there. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Appreciate Chris's time and hope to see you all for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.